story out west, the advancement of Memphis out east. The Sixers begin the Eastern Conference semis on Monday in Miami without Joel Embiid, recovering from a right orbital contusion, mild concussion in the series clincher over Toronto Thursday. He's out indefinitely. Stunning piece of news for the Sixers. Happened late in the game with the Sixers up 29, leading to plenty of second guessing on why he was in there. NBA players have been beset, especially superstars this postseason. What a development. And for more, we welcome in our Tim Bontemps. He's been with the Sixers all season long. Tim, welcome inside. Where does this injury leave the Sixers right now?
Well, Zubin, we just heard from Ja Morant and Desmond Bane celebrating their Game 6 win on the road to advance to the second round, and that's where the Philadelphia 76ers were 24 hours ago. Remember, all week long leading up to Thursday night's game, there was all this pressure on Philadelphia to get out of this first round, to avoid falling into a 3-3 tie going into a Game 7 tomorrow, potentially being the first team to ever lose a 3-0 lead in a series. Instead, Joel Embiid comes out and has 33 and 10. The Sixers win by 30. Everybody after the game is feeling great. Tobias Harris and James Harden are joking with each other. Danny Green comes in and talks about how he's not actually that old yet and he still can play in this league. And everybody was feeling great about going into the second round and facing the Miami Heat starting on Monday in what is going to be a pretty fascinating Eastern Conference semifinal. And now, obviously, 24 hours later, the loss of Joel Embiid, the centerpiece, the foundation of everything the Sixers team is doing, it's obviously a massive blow to their chances of trying to get past the second round for the first time in more than 20 years.
It's incredible. They're looking for their first finals appearance in more than 20 years, too. The buzzword of the moment, Tim, of course, is, quote, indefinitely. It's a pretty vague and nebulous term for a reason. But realistically, when could we expect a return for Embiid?
Now, 4 years ago, Zubin, Joel Embiid actually had a similar injury, and Markelle Fultz, his teammate, ran into him, and he suffered a left orbital facial fracture and a mild concussion. In that instance, he immediately had surgery and was out for 3 weeks. This time, the Sixers have made a point of saying, or I should say, they have not said that Joel Embiid has to have surgery. So there's at least some hope that potentially he could come back a little bit sooner. But I think more than anything, Joel Embiid all season long, Zubin, has talked about the fact that he was able to power through this year and play through injuries and be on the court in a way that he never has been before. And he was really able to shed the questions about durability that have dogged him throughout his career. And to get into this series and have the torn thumb ligament in Game 3 that impacted his play up until Game 6, and then to have this facial fracture now, it's obviously just a stunning turn of events for him. And while certainly the Sixers hope he can get back soon, certainly this is going to impact him at least into the middle of this series, and going against the Heat team with Defensive Player of the Year candidate in Bam Adebayo, with Jimmy Butler, with Kyle Lowry, with PJ Tucker. This is going to be an even bigger challenge than taking on the Raptors. So certainly, if they can get it back anytime soon, it would certainly help the Sixers' chances quite a bit if they can get Joel Embiid back on the court.
Always remember, NBA MVP finalist and the NBA scoring champion. That's a ton to replace, and that's our Tim Bontemps with the Eastern Conference semis starting shorthanded Monday night in Miami. A little bit more now on exactly what Embiid brings to the table. And we kind of know this already, but he's just been terrific all the way across the board. His usage rate, highest in the league this season. That's the advanced metric a lot of the experts take a look at. And Nicole, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer here, but if you thought that was a bad Philly sports story, let's double your pleasure.
I was going to say, as if there wasn't enough happening in the world of sports this evening, how about this from the land of baseball? Yes.
Both locker rooms and both coaches ahead. The Grizzlies win thanks to 23 points from Dylan Brooks, 23 from Desmond Bane. Ja had 17, relatively quiet night. The Grizz had 6 guys in double figures and overcome a raucous environment at the Target Center to win. And we are rolling tonight on Sports Center.
We are rolling, Zubin, because now we get to welcome in Desmond Bane, fresh off the 23 points and the win for the Grizzlies. You knew you were going home. You knew you were going back to Memphis. Now you get to go home knowing you're going into the next round. How does that feel?
Man, it's a blessing. I'm a young player in this league, my second playoff series, but, a lot of guys never get to make it to the playoffs, let alone win a series. So, obviously, we're going to enjoy this moment, but, got to flip the page fast, got a good, Golden State team coming into town, but we're excited to get the next series started in front of our home fans.
There were a couple times during this series and a couple times during this game where we looked at your team and we thought, man, they're just better when they have to start from behind, when they're in that hole. Why do I get the feeling that you're so comfortable when you have to fight?
Hey, I don't want to be in that hole. I promise you. I don't mind it, but you know what I'm saying? we'd like to start games a little bit better, but, you know, our resiliency really showed in this series. You know, I think pretty much every game we won besides game 2, we were trailing at some point. So, you know, it's a gritty group, and, you know, I love this team.
You're resilient, you're gritty, but how did that experience of being behind and having to fight back on a number of occasions, how did that help you again tonight?
Nah, I mean, just our togetherness. I mean, whether we were down, whether we were up, playing well, not playing well, you know, we trusted in each other, trusted in coach's plan, and, you know, executed the game for 48 minutes.
Tell me more about the trust that you have in each other, because there was at one point, you know, first half, and Joel wasn't having perhaps the best night. He was 1 for 6, and you only had a couple of points, and yet your team was only down 3. The concept of not playing hero ball, how does that apply to you guys?
I mean, it's everybody. I mean, throughout this year, we've had injuries, we've had COVID. You know, you name it, and then, you know, the next guy's been ready. You know, our depth is our strongest, you know, strength, and we're going to rely on it night in and night out. You know, it's going to be a different guy every night. You know, we're happy to get out of here with a series win.
You get out of there, you get to go home, and now you get to look forward to the Warriors. But I do have one question for you, because we know that you were presented with the Most Improved Player trophy. It was actually awarded to Ja. Where is the trophy right now? Do you have it? Does he have it? Where is it?
Yeah, it's still in my kitchen, but you know, that's his trophy. You know, he won that trophy. It's a great gesture. You know, that shows what type of leader he is, what type of teammate he is. But you know, that's his trophy.
Perhaps we can work out some sort of custody agreement where if you outscore him, you get to keep it. So I'm awarding it to you for at least the next couple of days. Desmond Bane, thanks for joining us, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
It was Bane who led the Grizzlies in scoring in this series. By the way, just over 23 points per game. He had 23 in this one as well. Next up, you get Memphis and the Warriors. The Grizzlies won 3 of 4 of the regular season meetings, but there's always a but. Klay Thompson played in only one of those games, and Steph missed another one. So this will be the second time these two franchises meet in the postseason, Zubin. The Warriors won in 6 games back in the 2015 conference semifinals.
Much more post-game coming from both sides. So the big story out west, the advancement of Memphis out east. The Sixers begin the Eastern Conference semis on Monday in Miami without Joel Embiid, recovering from a right orbital contusion, mild concussion in the series clincher over Toronto Thursday. He's out indefinitely. Stunning piece of news for the Sixers. Happened late in the game with the Sixers up 29, leading to plenty of second guessing on why he was in there. NBA players have been beset, especially superstars, this postseason. What a development. And for more, we welcome in our Tim Bontemps. He's been with the Sixers all season long. Tim, welcome inside. Where does this injury leave the Sixers right now?
Well, Zubin, we just heard from Ja Morant and Desmond Bane celebrating their Game 6 win on the road to advance to the second round, and that's where the Philadelphia 76ers were 24 hours ago. Remember, all week long leading up to Thursday night's game, there was all this pressure on Philadelphia to get out of this first round to avoid falling into a 3